Hello, this is Martin Houston, and this is the first edition of First Response. We are a new post-game show, having an opportunity for you to have immediate reaction to the Crimson Tide and the Crimson Tide victory. Things kind of got hairy over in Oxford to start the game, and then it looked like we were going to take care of business, and before you know it, all of a sudden, the Alabama Crimson Tide was in a fight till the very end. But nevertheless, victory number 3 is in the books for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm Martin Houston, and you're tuned into Tide 1029. And as I said, this is First Response post-game show, and we want to give you an opportunity to comment, give us your thoughts, give us your players of the game. What were your big moments? What were your takeaways? All of that is available. Now, this is all happening only on Facebook Live, so you're the only ones that's hearing what's going on right now. And if you want to comment, you can type those comments in. We'll interact back and forth. So get those comments in. I see Linda and Jeremy and all typing roll tide, baby. Jason Norton, roll tide, roll. The reckoning has arrived. So, but want to hear your thoughts as we move throughout this program on what you feel about the Crimson Tide and that victory. We got away with it. We survived. Are you happy? Are you sad? What are you feeling? I see a whole lot of roll tides going on. But I want to start off by getting the game plan out there that we're going to talk a little bit about redemption as we move throughout this next 15 to 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about Jalen Hurts, what he did, and who your players are of the game, and also a couple big things. I thought the officiating was poor, and I'm concerned with the injuries, but glad that we have next week's opponent in Kent State coming in to Bryant-Denny. So let's get right into the conversation. Once again, if you have a question you'd like to ask me, you can type those comments right here on Facebook Live. Or if you want to drive a topic, you can do that as well. When you look at redemption, that, you know, a lot of people talked about revenge. I don't think today was about revenge. I think today was about redemption. But not just for the Alabama football team as a whole. I think it was redemption for that offensive line. For the offensive line. I may have to give someone, Isaiah asked who was my player of the game. Well, I have to give it to Hurts on offense, but a close second was the offensive line as a whole. And then I have to give it to Jonathan Allen on defense. But man, what a game! Alabama coming away with the 48-43 victory over the Ole Miss Rebels. 48-43. Man, whew. But it was a close one. Alabama ends the first half. Alabama ends the first half with 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes, and Ole Miss returns the favor in the second half with 2 touchdowns in 8 seconds. And then my boy Bo Scarborough gave me a heart attack, near heart attack, when he fumbled the ball on that first down carry. But Bozeman was there to get the recovery. And David, I agree with you. Officiating poor and tired of CBS dictating situation. He's asking, do I think CBS games get more reviews than an ESPN game? I don't know if they do or not, but there was so many reviews in this game. But fortunately for us, it worked out great, especially on that drive when it looked like there was a touchdown and he slid down. So not totally upset with the reviews today, but a couple of times it was like it was an overkill on the reviews, and it was so many of them. Speaking of, what was your play of the game? You know, was the play of the game something as simple as Jonathan Allen being smart and shifting down, switching from his left hand being on the ground to his right hand being on the ground? Was that a difference in the game? Because instead of them having second down at the half-yard line. It backs them up 5 yards, and then we're able to get away with just a field goal. And, of course, we went on down to take control of the game. Redemption. Back to my point about redemption. Just want to talk to you a little bit about redemption for the offensive line and the running backs. I'm going to try to get the total stats for you as we're talking here. But redemption for the O-line. Last week, coming out of last week's game, everyone questioned the offensive line and the running game. And all week on the blitz, I tried to communicate to people, listen, we're not committed to the run. We didn't run the ball. It's not that the line didn't block great. It's that we just didn't call enough running plays. And as you saw today, we did that. We were able to line up, and at the end of the game, when they knew we were going to run the ball, we were able to get 2 first downs. So redemption on the O-line, for the O-line, and redemption for the running backs. And one of the guys that I have to tip my hat to, I have to apologize to, and I'll probably apologize to him for the remainder of the year, because that's Damian Harris. I did not think the young man could play at the level he plays, and I have to apologize to him. He has been unbelievable throughout the first couple of games. When he's gotten his opportunity to tote the mail, he did it. Bo had a couple of nice runs today, but it didn't work out. A couple of those runs got called back because of the turnover. What did you think about Jacob being in the game so early? I mean, he was really used early in the game. So I think Rodney responding to me right there on the play of the game being the recovery of Bo Scarborough's fumble at the end of the game. That's what he's calling the play of the game. What do you think the play of the game is? I like I said, was it Jonathan Allen's touchdown? Big boy took off on a nice long run and was able to get down to the goal line, and of course, great job holding on to the ball right there at the end. David Mize coming in. Allen's interception TD was a turning point, regardless of Danielson's harping on the one player not blocking during the return. Of course, I heard some people, talk about Danielson and how they don't like him, and that's part of the reason, instead of focusing on what the play is, he focused on the negative sometimes. But Nick, I don't know if we're going to get your wish or not. Don't let CBS call another Bama guy. But let's look at a couple things. This game, if kind of walk through from first quarter to the end of the game. At first quarter, things did not start off well for the Crimson Tide, as Alabama comes out in the defense that hadn't given up a touchdown really in regulation in the first group. They had not given up a touchdown all year. Looked kind of out of sorts and gave up a quick touchdown to Ole Miss, and then a response by the offense. But once again, we struggled with getting down into the red zone or in the scoring area and not pushing it across the goal line. So first quarter, even though we had a couple of really, really nice drives, one 16-play drive to start the game and another double-digit drive, we were still losing 7-3 after quarter number one. And then it just looked like the Ole Miss curse was going to get us again, but it did not. The Tide was able to rebound after falling down 24-3. 24-3, they're able to fall. They fell down 24-3, but did not give up and was able to come back and get a couple quick touchdowns to end the first half. Jalen Hurts grew up during that time. We went into the half only down 24-17, and from there I felt like we could really take over the game. And of course we did that in a big fashion, coming out in the third quarter with a 17-3 differential. Ole Miss, I think they were like 117, and Alabama was number 4 in the point differential in the second half of games, and that held true throughout the game. But almost caught up, and of course, at the end, Ole Miss outscores us in the fourth quarter, 16-14, after we took an 18-point lead. So hats off to Ole Miss, hats off to the Rebels for fighting a good fight. But your Alabama Crimson Tide once again coming away with the victory, 48-43. When you look at this team, does this team have what it takes to go all the way? I think they do. And I want to point out just a couple things that I picked up on as we were going throughout the game. First and foremost, that defense, even though we didn't have as many sacks today, and Kelly had quite a few plays, and Marlon had an off game, and those big receivers made some plays, the defense had some disruptive pressure on the quarterback, which helped Alabama get off several times in that 3 and out. So Alabama was able to even though they didn't dominate the way we want to see them dominate, they were still able to make enough plays. And then, of course, the big touchdown at the end of the game by Jonathan Allen. Ryan Anderson's fumble right there at the goal line when he hit Kelly was a big turning point in the game as well. And what an athletic play by a 300-plus pound man when Deron Payne is going down and sticks the ball out across the goal line to give the Alabama Crimson Tide an even bigger lead. So that is just a little bit of what I saw in defense. When it comes to the offense, pass blocking was good for the most part, but what a hit suffered by Jalen Hurts. I thought maybe he was going to be out. Another blown call once again by the official. That should have been a targeting call. The touchdown never should have happened. And, of course, it did. And I thought, man, I don't know if he's going to come back. But when he came back in the game, I wrote this word down: composure. I don't know how good this kid's going to be. I don't know how good he can be. But I know this. He has more composure than any player I've ever seen. And I know that's putting a lot on him, but to take that lick and then come right back in and they run the ball with him and he's effective, he takes his team down and gets the first touchdown of the day. Alabama, we're sitting good at quarterback. Coming out of that game, I'm feeling much better about our running back situation with Damian Harris being able to shoulder the load because that big offensive line did what they needed to do. And if you go back and look at the predictions on Tide1029.com, Tide1029.com, it was a unbelievable list of predictions and different things going on. But I stated this in that prediction. I said, you will see a dominant offensive line in Alabama, and you will see it begin on Saturday with over 300 yards rushing. Alabama's offense, 300 yards rushing. First quarterback to have 100 and 100 since 2001. Tyler Watts did it against Ole Miss. True freshman, 100 and 100 rushing. Running backs running the ball. Offensive line making plays. And, hey, what can we say about the wide receiver core? They were able to make the plays when they needed to. What a catch by Ridley on the deep ball. Alabama, the complete team, is a scary thought because that was our question going in. Could this team be a complete team? Absolutely, they can be a complete team. So I want to encourage you right now. I see a lot of you joining us right here on Facebook Live. I want to know what your thoughts are. Tell me who your player of the game is. Was it Damian Harris with the way he ran the ball? Was it Jalen Hurts with the way he ran the ball? Was it the defense or the offensive line collectively? Who was it? What about Eddie Jackson's punt return? I didn't even know Eddie Jackson was a punt returner. but he looked like he knew what he was doing with the ball. Tanya Angel Lynette saying that she believes that it's Allen. Want to know who you think your player of the game is. What we're going to do right here, though, I want to remind you that you're tuned in right now to the first response. This is the first time we've done this. We're looking forward to it becoming a big part of the Tide 102.9 lineup. We want to invite you to tell your friends about this. Is going to be happening post-game after all the games. And so tell your friends about it. But I also want to remind you, if you don't have the Radio Pup app, download the Radio Pup app and to your smartphone, or go to your computer and log in to tide1029.com and make sure you join the Ewing post-game show that's going to be coming up live right after Crimson Tide Sports Network post-game show with Eli and the guys. So go ahead and make sure that you go ahead and make plans. You know, Brandon, I don't know what's up with the axe. Brandon Ritchie asked me, what's up with the axe? That's one of the questions I'm going to have to figure out. But before we move too far, Brandon Ritchie, when I was asking about the player of the game, said the offensive line did show up today. Lafayette Duke, Deron Payne, player of the game for sure. Clayton Nance saying Damian Harris, triple exclamation point, 34 RTR as the player of the game. Who's your player of the game? Brandon Nichols saying the center for recovering the last fumble is the player of the game, coming from a Canadian fan of the Tide here. So welcome, Brandon, up in, I guess you're up in Canada right now. But, man, 3-0 sounds good. It's a really good place to be. What we're going to do is, hey, you stay right there. What we're going to do is just take a quick break, and then we're going to be back in just a few moments. And I want to remind you, when I'm not doing this, I have the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring, which is a speaking, training, leadership organization, whether it be schools, churches, or your business. Love leadership, love empowerment. We have a fourfold mission. It's to educate, it's to encourage, it's to equip, and it's to empower. And we would love the opportunity to talk with you and your organization. Go to martinhouston.org, and check us out. As I said, this is First Response, giving you a chance to recap, review, and respond to Alabama's latest game. Of course, that's the 48-43 victory over the Ole Miss Rebels. We're going to take a quick break right here, but you stay at your device, whether it's your computer, your iPad, or your smartphone. Stay right there, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes on First Response on Tide 1029 and Tide1029.com. Welcome back into First Response on Tide 1029, Tide 1029. I'm Martin Houston. You can also catch me each and every Monday through Friday on at Tide 1029, Tide1029.com, or download the Radio Pup app. Or if you're in the Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, West Alabama area, turn that dial to Tide 102.9, Tide 102.9. But this is First Response. This is our first time doing this. We're so excited to be joining you. Thank you for your interaction. Hey, the purpose of this is to give you our first initial response, but also give you a chance to recap, review, and respond to Alabama's victory. This is an awesome victory. It wasn't as pretty as I would have liked, but it actually will pay huge dividends because Alabama, it has been since I was playing at the university in 1989, since Alabama has come back from a 21-point deficit. Back in '89, we fell down 21-0 in the first 6 minutes of the ball game. Went on to a 62-27 victory. Wasn't as dominating as that, but it really, really was a great comeback for the University of Alabama. They made some unbelievable plays, unbelievable coaching moves and decisions. Heads up, not a heads up, but a shout out to Bozeman for the fumble recovery. Hey, and I'm telling you that this is absolutely an unbelievable victory, and it means so much to the Crimson Tide. So 3-0, first time in a while where we're not having to try to come back or need someone else. Alabama put themselves in the driver's seat with this victory. Let's take a second and look at a few of the stats from the game. Jalen Hurts, true freshman quarterback, 19 for 31, only 158 passing yards, no touchdowns on the day. In terms of rushing, had 18 carries, 8.1 yard per carry for 146 yards with a long of 41. Damian Harris, 16 attempts, 9 yards a carry, 144 yards, 1 touchdown with a long of 67 yards. Joshua Jacobs, 3 carries, 11 yards a carry, 33 yards, long of 25. Bo Scarborough and Ridley having the other 9 carries for a total of 15 yards between them. But great rushing game. Kudos to those guys. And from a receiving standpoint, Calvin Ridley led the way with 8 receptions, 10 yard average, 81 yards, 45 on the long. Garrett Dieter had a couple of catches for a total of 47 yards, long of 30. And then O.J. Howard having 2 catches, 24 yards. Darius Stewart went out early in the game. Don't know how serious that is. It looked like it was really a bad injury. Looked like it may have actually hurt his knee. Mike McGraw said Chad Kelly is great. Bama takes the win as we develop some new guys. Hey, as we watched that game, it kind of looked a lot like we kind of came back and won that game on some of the same stuff that Ole Miss used to do. But speaking of Darius Stewart, Alabama comes out of this game and had quite a few potential injuries that could last a little while. Darius Stewart having to be helped off the field under the tent for a while. Minkah Fitzpatrick, they didn't show anything else with him. Don't know what his situation is, so we'll be checking on that. Reuben Foster had to be carted off after cramping up, and then Eddie Jackson was seen walking into the locker room. That is 4 guys, 3 of them on a defense that, hey, showed a little vulnerability today. I didn't think anybody would move the ball like that on this defense. Chad Kelly showing that he's the real deal. 26 for 41 with 421 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception, and 1 fumble. Ran the ball for another 48 yards, so he had a combined total of 469 yards on the Tide. But no running game to speak of. Only 15 carries for 45 yards, or a total of actually 19 more carries for a combined total of 58 yards for the rest of the guys. But receiving, they got some big-time receivers. Guys stepped right in where Chad Kelly left off. Ingram, one of the callers on the blitz, had actually called it, said that he felt like Ingram would give us some trouble, and they did. 9 receptions for 138 yards. Jefferson, another 91 yards on 6 catches. Stringfellow for 87 yards. So they were 22 yards from having 3 100-yard receivers on Alabama. So kudos to them, but what an amazing win by Alabama. And if anyone had told you that this team would give up 43 points and get away with a win a few weeks ago before the season started, you would have thought that they were crazy, especially if they told you we were starting a true freshman. But I think this team has the potential to do some really special things because they have the total package. No one really talks a lot about it. He had one really bad shank that I think hurt the team, but other than that, J.K. Scott flipped the field, consistently made Ole Miss have to drive the length of the field, and several times that paid great dividends because they had such a long way to go. They made some mistakes before. Let's get a few of these comments that's coming in. Rex Mobley, wild roll tide, scary but good. Brandon Ritchie, that's ground and pound Alabama style. He's happy to see Alabama back at it, running the ball. I was glad to see that. Gina Riffer says, can we just talk about our 8-yard punt, another missed field goal, our O-line flags, the terrible job the refs did, and Vern, I'm going to have a heart attack. Well, Gina, I'm not going to talk about those things until next week. I'm going to bask in the glory of this win and enjoy that the Crimson Tide was able to do some great things. A couple of other comments here. Brandon Ritchie, that call on Jalen Hurts should have been a flag on Ole Miss. You're absolutely right. Stephen Harton, Hurts has ice in his veins, loves this young man. I'm telling you, he's one of the most composed young men. He didn't let the fact that he overthrew the touchdown rattle him. He didn't let the fact that he got hit rattle him. He just kept playing, kept digging. Mike McGraw and several of you have said that you're concerned about depth on the roster, especially with these injuries and how serious they are. Todd Ryan's amazing, and Alabama defense gives up 43 points, and we still come away with the win. There you go. I agree with you on that. Ryan Gunn, the refs were backups from the Mayhem commercial. Mal Sutter, what happened to this vaunted defense I heard about all spring? Kirby Smart got a huge smile. No, Mal, that has nothing to do with it. You go back and look. They did have a couple busted plays, and that's going to happen. They also got some cheap points as well, so don't put this all on the defense. I still think this is a vaunted defense. And by the way, if you don't remember, Kirby Smart gave up the same amount of points last year as well, and this defense is going to be fine. So, Mal, I kind of disagree with you on that. Kirby Smart needs to be worried about his own business. He struggled against Nicholls State, so good riddance to Kirby Smart. I'm a Jeremy Pruitt guy. Thanks him for what he did, but he's gone now. Gene Brown, love to see the Fat Boys run for touchdown, referring to Jonathan Allen's big-time play. Hey, you couldn't write this up much better if you want your team to go on to win championships in terms of having fallen down 21 points, having struggled with some early mistakes, your defense not playing bad, giving up a touchdown, a non-offensive touchdown, and still coming out with the victory behind a running game that we thought was gone. I'm telling you, it is going to pay huge dividends as Alabama moves forward. Just a couple more minutes here, and we're going to be closing out First Response. I want to remind you that you're listening to First Response on Tide 1029, Tide 1029. I'm Martin Houston. We're going to be doing this each and every week after Alabama's games, giving you a chance to react, respond, recap, and review what happened. But Bruce Fleming wrote me a little note here. Let me see what he has to say. First half, all those little dump-off plays like to kill us. You got to let your quarterback throw downfield. You got all these receivers. You're going to play a freshman as a quarterback. You got to trust him and let him throw down the field. Bruce, I echo those comments coming out of the first half. So here's what we're going to do. I appreciate all of you jumping on with me for First Response on Tide 1029, but there's a lot of other great things that happen on Tide 1029, and I want to encourage you to join myself on the Morning Blitz each and every weekday morning from 6 to 7 on Tide 1029, tide1029.com, or download that Radio Pup app. And also, I do Facebook Live just like this every day on my personal Facebook page. So look up Facebook Martin Houston, and you can catch it there. And then, hey, that just starts today, 6 to 7. Then from 7 to 9, you got Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson. Then we lead into Gary Harris, the Gary Harris Show, takes us up to 11 o'clock. Senior analyst for Bama Online, Travis Ryer, Southern Fried Sports. He takes care of business from that point up until noon. Noon to 2 is Aaron Solos of the Solos Approach, from also with the Tuscaloosa News. And then the flagship show on Tide 1029, The Game, from 2 to 6 with Ryan Fowler. You can be a part of that, like I said, with Facebook Live for my show, the Radio Pup app on your smartphone, and also Tide1029.com. And of course, if you're listening if you live in our listening area, you can tune in on the radio. Hey, great victory for Alabama. Just a couple things, closing thoughts. Redemption for Alabama as a team. They broke the streak of two consecutive losses. They also got redemption as an O-line and as a running back. Hey, got a couple things to work on in the back of the secondary, front of the secondary, front seven, played great. Didn't give up a lot of disruptive pressure. So I want to encourage you to just stay tuned here. Not stay tuned here, but make sure you go over now when I hang up here, Tide1029.com or Radio Pup app, the Radio Pup app, and check out the Ewing postgame show. Going to be live, so make sure you go over there. And then, like I said, just a couple more closing thoughts. Jalen Hurts, composure, unbelievable, only has an upside. This team is only going to get better. Bama, I'm not saying we're going to go 15-0, but I believe this team has what it takes to be one of the greats and be the first team in Alabama history to go 15-0. So we're going to watch carefully as we move throughout the week in the season if the Tide can do that. But, hey, make sure you tune in. I can't say it enough to Tide Sports on Tide 1029. For First Response, I'm Martin Houston. Thank you so much. Join me Monday morning, 6 o'clock, where I'll have a little bit more time to dig into this game, give you a little more insight on what I saw, and get some thoughts and comments from Coach Saban. Roll Tide, great victory, 3-0, as the road to 17 continues for the 2016 Alabama Crimson Tide. Once again, I'm Martin Houston, and this has been First Response on Tide1029.com.